What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well, the lovely folks over at Transformers TCG Towers have changed the rules. And I mean that very literally. They have added a new rule into the Transformers trading card game, which, to be completely blunt, is gonna change things. And without burying the lead, the new rule is you can only get one extra turn per turn, and they do not stack. So if it's your turn, you can gain an extra turn. More on that in a moment. You then get turn number 2. You cannot have turn number 3, no matter what you do. Now, if your opponent has turn number 3, you can potentially have turns number 4 and 5, but your opponent then has to have turn number 6, unless you've already won. You can have turn 7 and 8, but your opponent has to have turn number 9. You can have 2 turns in a row, but you cannot have 3 turns in a row. That is a new rule that has been implemented. So we'll look at the reasons for this in a moment, but how do you get extra turns? Well, as it stands at the moment, there is only one mechanism through which you can get extra turns, and that is Peace Through Tyranny. Peace Through Tyranny is a phenomenal card that was printed back in Wave 1. It is a double orange icon card, which sees a lot of play in aggressive decks, and would even if it was blank. But it reads, you may KO one of your characters that has 6 stars or more. If you do, take an extra turn after this one. Okay, but that's only one extra turn. Well, the problem is you can combine that with I Still Function. I Still Function returns one of your KO'd characters that has 12 stars or fewer to the battlefield, repairs 1 damage from it, but then at the end of the turn, you KO it. Except before you get to the end of the turn, you have the opportunity to play Peace Through Tyranny and KO it. So what you essentially do is at least once per turn, you use I Still Function to grab a character back, and then KO it with Peace Through Tyranny, so that you get every turn. And the rule used to be that this stacked. So if you could pull off this combo 2 or even 3 times in a turn, then you got the next 2 or even 3 turns. And you could basically stack this so you got every single turn, and your opponent never got a turn for the entire game. This isn't fun, ladies and gentlemen. There's no fun to be had in this. Nobody enjoys playing a game when they sit down and their opponent essentially solitaires for 20 minutes, half an hour, and wins. Now, this was announced in Nagel's note over on the Transformers TCG official Facebook page, where the lead design of the game, Ken Nagel, did come out and explain it. And essentially, the reason is, it's no fun, and this is open to abuse. And the thing is, let's say it's not Peace Through Tyranny, I Still Function. It's gonna be something else. And what it basically means is, from a designer's point of view, they have to look at the game and go, well, we can't print any more of this. We just can't. And that's rubbish. Now, this came around because of, and I did a video about this, so I'm going to explain it briefly, but I'll link this video in the description so you can go and check it out in a lot more detail. But in Wave 3, we just got given Private Red Heat. And what Private Red Heat does is it allows you to swap all the upgrades between 2 characters in the exact same way that the battle card Swap Parts did back in Wave 1. You'll notice Swap Parts got banned because it was too good. Well, Red Heat does the same thing. And the general theory is that you can combine a number of cards, and they're all the specialist cards. Multi-Mission Gear, when you attach it, lets you play an extra action. Multi-Tool, when you attach it, lets you play an extra upgrade. And Field Communicator, when you attach it, lets you scrap the top card of your deck, and you can play it if you like. So the goal here is to get one of each of these on 2 specialists, use Private Red Heat to swap them, and then you activate both Multi-Mission Gear to give you a couple of extra actions, both Multi-Tool to get you a couple of extra upgrades, and both Field Communicator to let you play the top, essentially 2 cards of your deck. And then, of course, by playing all these extra cards, it makes it much more easy to get the combination of I Still Function and Peace Through Tyranny off. Now, initially, we were doing it with swap parts. Swap parts got banned. Now we could potentially be doing it with red heat. Why doesn't red heat get banned? And the reason is, extra turns are always going to lead to shenanigans. And Private Red Heat, they did a bunch of testing, but it's the extra turn that's leading to shenanigans. It's not Private Red Heat. And let's make no mistake about this, the specialist tools and red heat, they can lead to extra turns, but they're not the only ways to do this. Let's not forget that in Wave 1 and in Wave 3 we had Brainstorm, which lets you play 2 actions. Okay, you've got to have a really good hand to do it, but you can brainstorm and play the pair of these cards. We've got Leap of Faith that lets you play the top 2 cards of your deck. Especially when combined with Brainstorm, you could get this combo off. Then, of course, we've got a whole bunch of characters that let you play extra actions. Back in Wave 1, we got ourselves Autobot Mirage, that when you flip it into alt mode lets you play an extra action. In Wave 2, we got Bumblebee, which when you flip it into alt mode lets you play an extra action. We had Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, back in Wave 1, that lets you play one of the cards you flip while attacking. Now, this one's less useful because it's right as you're attacking at the end of your turn, but really, if you've played I Still Function and then you manage to hit a Peace Through Tyranny using this, that will potentially keep the combo going. And then along those lines, we've had Alpha Trion in Wave 3, which, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not quite as good, but it allows you to play a blue action you flipped when you are attacking. Problem here, of course, is that neither I Still Function nor Peace Through Tyranny has a blue icon. But then again, when you flip Alpha Trion into alt mode, you get to return an orange action from your scrap pile to your hand, which does let you recover Peace Through Tyranny, so even though it's not letting you play extra actions, it's still potentially useful, or not the right kind of actions. And I think that's at the heart of the problem here. Yes, swap parts did it initially, yes, red heat comes along and does it afterwards, but the problem is there's always going to be cards like this. And one of the most interesting things I found from Ken's note here is that they talked about the fact that they were having to restrict their design choices to prevent this. So one of the examples they gave was Captain Alita 1, one of the new character cards, one of the new rare characters from Wave 3. And Captain Alita 1 in bot mode has a skill which is Leap of Faith. When you're KO'd. When it's KO'd, scrap the top card of your deck, you may play it, then scrap another card from the top of your deck, you may play it. It's literally Leap of Faith. And what they actually said was, Alita 1 was going to have a KO trigger to take an extra turn. When Captain Alita is triggered, take an extra turn. Problem is, of course, with I Still Function, that would be beyond broken. Because as long as you can just play an I Still Function every turn, Captain Alita gets KO'd every turn, and then you just have every turn. And as they said in the note, it didn't take long in playtesting to see this wasn't a balanceable ability. So they said that Leap of Faith was essentially enough like an extra turn without actually being one. And the great news here is that these design options have now been opened up. Whereas before, the card designers are going, we can't do extra turn effects, they're going to be abused. And we've literally been given the example that Captain Alita had it, and then had it removed for fear of it being abused. And let's all face it, it definitely would have been. Now, we've got potentially more options for this in the future. Will people find a way to break them? Probably. But isn't that kind of the fun of trading card games? Now, one important point to note as we finish off here. We are not unbanning swap parts. By we, I mean Wizards. Clearly, I have no say in the matter. Wizards are not unbanning swap parts. The card generates too much value for too little cost. The Infinite Turns deck was just the first outlet for that engine, and I agree with that. I know that Red Heat does the same thing as swap parts, but you've got to discard a white card from your hand. It's your only tap ability for the turn, and Private Red Heat is a 5-star character. So you've got to dedicate 20% of your deck just to be able to put that card in the first place, whereas swap parts, it's just there and ready to go. So I do understand why swap parts is still banned. I kind of like this. I also love the fact that when I posted my previous video about Red Heat, several people suggested, look, the best way to fix this is just limit one extra turn per turn. And I think that probably was the best solution. Also, please bear in mind, and I want you guys to go nuts in the comment section as always, but please bear in mind, to be nice, because you know that Wizards have been testing this far more extensively than any of us have, unless by some weird reason you've had like a week off work lately and have been spending the entire time testing this. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Proof, if any more were needed, that Wizards are listening to us and they are aiming to fix the game. Be happy about the fix, be sad about the fix, that's up to you guys. But please do be thankful for the fact that they are listening, and that is a wonderful thing. So tell me what you think about this. Are you happy? Are you sad? Could you see a better solution? Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about games like Transformers and whatever else takes our fancy. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.